Welcome to First Use, and in today's episode I'm going to go through the Demons' amazing last quarter against the Brisbane Lions up at the Gabba. Sensational win. I'm going to go through some really important moments throughout the last quarter, but in particular how they set up behind the ball. I thought that was the key to keeping a lot of forward half and a lot of forward entries, resulting in so many goals they scored in the last quarter to overrun the Brisbane Lions. It was a sensational win. Going to go through really pivotal moments that happened in that last quarter and give you a breakdown on how the Demons were able to have an amazing upset win at the Gabba. Okay, here's my appreciation post for Clayton Oliver. Last night he kept Lachie Neale, arguably one of the best players in the competition, if not the best out of centre bounces. Kept him to one clearance last night. It was a sensational effort. So let's go back 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, when the Brisbane Lions played the Suns. Dunkley kept Rao to one clearance for the entire game. So even though Lachie Neale got his 30 touches, he wasn't as damaging out of this, particularly out of the centre bounce. The Demons smashed the Lions out of the centre bounce, the structure, and I'll go through a bit of that. So this is the start of the fourth quarter, and he's right on him. So what they set up a lot last night, Brisbane Lions love to hit it forward, whether it's McInerney or Darcy Ford, who they had last night. They love to hit it forward, and they expose a lot of sides in the front bit. So that's why it's really important that not only do you have to have a sweeper, but if you don't have a designated sweeper, which a lot of sides do, you've got to have coverage. So you see there Cozzy Pickett and then Oliver. So he takes him to the contest right here. And just awesome play, just to give him a little bit of a nudge, get him off balance. Little nudge, gets him off balance, and then Track picks it up. So the discipline of Clayton Oliver last night brought in the likes of Cozzy, brought in the likes of Petrarca into the centre bounces clearance. So it was an awesome job. And then Max Gawn gets a free kick. So once again, it's deep inside Brisbane's forward 50, and that's Oliver there. So what he was able to do was not only negate Lachie Neale, particularly in the centre bounces, but then also be able to get off and use his strength. And that his strength is one touch. And this is just outstanding work. So you can see him at the top screen there. And then Lachie Neale's I know what Lachie Neale's trying to do. He's trying to stay out to create space. So he's leaving his numbers inside. But because Clayton Oliver takes off, and when he takes off, you have to have an impact. Bang, one touch, and look at those hands. Another clearance. So just awesome to come off. Look what Lachie Neale is. So part of the video I'm going to go through today and part of the clips is about depth perception. Now, if you've seen my previous videos, you would have noticed that I've spoken a lot about this in relation to Collingwood. They set up really, really well. What I saw last night was what the Demons are starting to put in place, and that is to create this depth perception. So when they get the ball, a lot of sides like to try and go through the corridor. So especially when they're in deep, Brisbane's deep in their back 50, they like to square up and go into this area. But Petty does a great job, and it's about the depth perception. So this player in particular, when he gets the ball, and when he looks up, if he sees his man, of course it's an easy kick, but as soon as he gets the ball, it's Fletcher. He's trying to hit this target here. But because the depth perception is set up, so you've got to have pressure on the ball, and then you've got one here, but it's well set up by Petty. So they are trying to come back through the corridor throughout the last quarter, and then he just intercepts. So no doubt you've got this player that's coming up, but because you've got the setup here, you get the intercept. And I'll show you a few more clips as we go along, just to show you what I mean with that depth perception. It's a really good strategy, especially when sides like to take the corridor. So Petty takes the mark. What I like about this is that it's off the line kick. So what I mean by off the line, so if you didn't draw an imaginary line down the middle of the ground, This is what they call the skinny side. This is what's called the fat side. So generally speaking, you want to kick off the line. And off the line is also too in relation to the kicker to the goals. So what Brisbane are really renowned for, and I love what Melsham did last night on Harris Andrews. Harris Andrews ended up getting pushed into the forward line late in this last quarter, is because they get missed. So they're sweating. They're hoping that it goes in here so they can get an intercept and then they play on. But if you're able to kick off the line, you bring other players into play. So this doesn't unfold. Fritter goes to the ball. But the reason why I'm showing this is the forward pressure. So the behind the pressure to force Brisbane to kick it. And this is what's really important in the last quarter for Melbourne. So the ball bums around. They're trying to go through the quarter. They want to get their handball run go. And then because you've got pressure on the ball carrier, you force a kick. So great work here for the small forwards to identify, push, then you force a kick. Right? So once you force a kick, and then great awareness here by Cozzy Pickett. Now why is he running into this space? Because Christian Salem's a left footer. Just the synergy is really, really good. Love that. So bang, leads into space. And look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So no bombing. Brilliant play. So this is awesome work. Now, you've probably heard a lot of people on the media talk about balance. Now, what is balance? Well, balance is allowing... in this situation, it's a perfect example. So Melsham is going to the ball carrier. And then you've got to watch what Fritter does, and then also the third player that comes in the screen. So balance is having trust in your teammate to go at the ball, but then you having balance to go at the carrier. So not 2-on-1. So if in this situation, if Fritsch was to go to the contest, he comes into play. You've got to have trust. So Fritz is stopping. He's just allowing Melsham to go at the ball carrier. Really important. Now Petty comes off. So you've got the handball receive. Now Petty's coming off. But what Fritter does here is really important. He's allowing this to happen. So there's your one-on-one. There's your one-on-one. If he was to come over here, they would have a free release over there. But what Fritter does here is he identifies that Payne is free. So he's allowing Petty to go one-on-one, trusting your opponent, and then he comes off. There's your balance. And forces a turnover and becomes holding the ball. I was just going to say that Fritter, I watched the SEN, they do their players of the week. Can't believe that Gawn wasn't still in there. But anyway, I was going to say he should be sub of the week, and he was, which is great. His energy in the last quarter was amazing. And then he gets holding the ball. So that balance is really, really important. You got to be really mindful, and that's why a lot of clubs talk about balance, and you might have heard in the media, is to create that one-on-one contest, have trust in your teammate, but also to be able to pick off the receivers. And that's what Petty and Fritter did. Right, so they get it out, and Kitty Coleman's got the ball. Now, this is the depth perception I'm talking about. He wants to try and hit these players here. Particularly those two. Probably not there. That's a bit of a risky kick. But he wants to hit those two. But because you've got 1, 2, 3, it's almost in a line with where the kicker is. Instead of being... Normal zones are sort of gone that, and then what happens is they just drop it over and they pick up and they hit that target. And clubs, they're really good at doing this. But you've got to actually go on a line. You see that line there? So he's had a look, can't see anything. And then you've got you've got it all covered. They've got it all covered here. So the depth perception is really, really important. So his only option is to kick it down the line. So he kicks it down the line, and they force it. Melbourne force a turnover. But what needs to happen here is exactly that. So you need to have great awareness here. Left footer again. You've got to come through the corridor. But what actually happens? What tends to happen with Brisbane, and that's why Harris Andrews is standing and leaving Melsham to the boundary, is they're hoping that the sides kick here so they can come across, get the intercept mark, and a whoosh go the other side. But you've got to shift the defence. So by this little kick is great. So Brisbane's hoping you bang it here, because they've got one there and one there. But this is a great kick from Bowie. Off the line. Goes to Melsham, kicks a goal. So that off the line kick is really, really important. That's what they were able to dissect Brisbane in their intercept marks. I think he only had one intercept, maybe two intercepts for the whole night. Right, so not only do you have pressure from behind, but you've also got to be really structured ahead of the ball. And that's what I thought Disco Turner, I think he's found his position down back. This is a wonderful spoil. So Kitty Coleman going out, so he's heading this way. He's had a look, and he's such a good kick of the foot. He can go this way, or in this case, he's going to his right, and he's forward up ahead is onto it. But so is Turner, like right on him. This spoil is outstanding, and the reason why this spoil is good is because he just separates the pack. Bang. And Bowie gets onto it. And then they go down. I'll just go through this. They go down. It's a free kick. Great thing about this is Sparrow, but he plays on quick. So by playing on quick and getting it deep over the back, you eliminate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. So if he was to try and thread the needle here, and that's why you've got to have variety going inside forward 50. Then it goes over the back, and Freddie kicks a goal. Right, so this is a depth perception I was talking about. So they kick it, they square it up to Levi Ashcroft in the pocket. So clubs you got to let them have the boundary line. What you don't want to open yourself up to is the corridor. Just watch how these players get in line with the kicker's eyes to the corridor. Really smart. So just watch how this unfolds. So they come across. So he's covering this player here. That depth perception that I was telling you about. Really important. Now watch this player here come into line. So really smart. So comes in and then holds. They hold. Right? So there you got your 1, 2, 3. So you're creating no avenue for them to hit that 45. And then you've got one-on-one, you've got one-on-one, one-on-one, you've got one-on-one. But you've got position. So you haven't got, there's no space for them to go. So he looks, can't see any, and now he wants to try and switch the play, but Petty comes off and takes the mark. So really well set up. So you only have a limited time. I think it was 10 seconds when you've got the mark to actually make a decision. So that's why you've got to have those forwards, particularly those forwards. That's why they were so good defensively from behind Melbourne last night, to get in line really quick to then force him to either kick it long or try and switch the play. But then you've got to have balance as well. And we get another set shot. So another one. So they switch it again. And you watch what Cozzy Pickett does here. Hand movement, gestures. You've got these guys behind have got to be the voice and eyes for Pickett, because the guy on the mark has got to be really, you don't want to give away 50, so you've got to be really, but it's important that this next layer of players are the ones that are talking. So then you watch here, holds. I think that's Langdon. So then he's trying to make sure there's no 45 kicks here. And then Cozzy then tries to get himself in position, comes back, he's pointing. So it's almost like a handover. Hey, this guy's coming through. Yep, he's here. He's facing in to see what's dangerous. He's not looking at the kicker. So they're structured really well, and then you've got no outlet here. So Levi's only option, and think that his previous time he tried to switch the play, Petty got it. So he's in two minds now. All he can do is go down the line, Stephen May. It's a really good structure. So that was the key ingredient for Melbourne winning the game last night, was their structure behind the ball. So Stephen May, left footer, wheels around, and this is good. He gets it in quick, so their backs don't have time to set up. You can see that they like this. They like to get in here, have this, be able to intercept mark, but because Stephen May gets it in quick and deep, goes over the back, Johnson comes through, great goal, great celebration. So this summed up the last quarter. This is a sensational play from D50, inside forward 50 for the Ds. So Lachie Neale bangs it inside forward 50 because he had the pressure behind him. Great coverage by McVie to go for it. His courage, but great protection here from McDonald. So knows that he's free and just goes for it. But then once he wins it, you've got to have the switch of play. So great awareness from Turner to go. You've got to switch. So it's come in this way. Majority of the numbers are on this side of the field. So where's the space? Over here. So you've got to move. But you've got to be quick. So they held up a little bit, but then he spots. Now watch Cozzy's work ethic here. Look where he is right now. So, and this is why Fritsch was so good. His ability to go up and down, and move inside the forward line just created so much energy and so many options. So he gets it here. And what is he? Left footer. So that awareness to then come at the kicker, really good. Good Cozzy. And then what's the work rate of Fritsch here? So great kick. So only corridor. So now you're switching the defence again. So in. Cozzy's still going. Alright. So great movement just to keep running. And look at the hard work here from Fritsch. Cozzy gets it. And then by him playing on, creates all this movement. If he was to go back off the mark, Brisbane can set. But because you're creating that movement and you're getting the ball flow, so this comes from D50, remember, you then create all this space and you create uncertainty, and then the Brisbane Lions defence are on their toes. Now this could have gone to Gawn, but great work rate. So Payne takes intercept mark and he's looking inside. This is what they like to do. They're trying to get the ball rolling, and then press right up. So great closing speed. I love this. No exit. No opportunity for that 45 to spoil. And then Johnson goes in. And this is the assist of the year so far. So to put this in perspective, he's a right footer going in to not the favoured side for the pocket, but he kicks this on his left foot, over his right shoulder, over passing lanes. Passing lanes means a defender, into space. That is the assist of the year for me. I just posted about it this morning, and then I had a milkshake in appreciation of that kick. Outstanding by Melcham. An outstanding game, how he played on an All-Australian defender. It's really critical. So, bit of a fumble here, but Bowie, one touch. So clean. Look at all those defenders right there. This is so important. In today's game, you've got to be so good below your knees. But once again, they've got balance from the Ds. So he picks it up, one touch, hand pass back. great awareness there from Turner. Once he comes back in, you want to be in the vision of the, and I've mentioned this a number of times in videos, you want to be, so if he goes this way, he's got eyes there, but he turns around and good balance. And then they're off. But then there's a turnover. So now you've gone from getting the ball to attack, now you've got to defend. And this is outstanding from a first year. So what do they want to do? They want to go and play on quick. They haven't got much time to go. Right, 4 minutes left. Let's go through the corridor. But this is brilliant play from a first year in Lindsay. So, and takes off, and courage. He gets a free kick. And so, because of this, they set up the defence really well. All of a sudden, they're forced to bomb it down the line. But then, that's they, meaning Brisbane, come into the brick wall, which is Max Gawn. And this is great work. I said on radio last night that yes, it's great that Max Gawn gets the work and gets the marks, but also it's the ability of these players, which is Turner, which is May, which is McDonald, to not allow their players to jump into the pack. So it could have easily, Rayner could have easily gone, but because Turner does his work early, it doesn't allow him to jump on top of Gawn. So you've got to have protection. And that was really smart. Love that from Turner. Like I said, I think he's found his place down back. And now once again, they've got no other option to kick it long. And because these players are set up structurally in behind, it then forces this one-on-one. And Gawn, there's not too many rucks. They're going to out-muscle Gawn. Takes it again. So there's other clips I could have showed, but I'm going to end with this one. And the reason why I'm going to end with this one is because throughout the whole night, Gawn was hitting it forward. He's smashing it forward. You would have seen that through the entire game. So what that did is it actually forced Brisbane on the back foot. So you see most of the numbers are here, trying to face their goal. They're in protection mode. But there's no doubt there was a set play set up with Cozzy. You know, it's really late in the game. They want to try and get another scoring opportunity. And Gawn he took the ball out of the ruck a couple of times, but not a lot. But this is certainly a set play. And the reason why for this is, and the reason why Cozzy's coming this way is because he's a right footer. So I love this organisation. I love this set play. And how you have this set play, you've got to make sure that you've got your guys pushing the defenders this way. So it allows. I know Cozzy gets a free kick from this, but it's certainly a set play. Because Gawn uses his strength to get the ball, then he hand passes to Cozzy. Cozzy gets a free kick, but the reason why it's a set play is because look at those two. That's the set play. That's when you celebrate, because you know you've set something in place and it's happened. So there's some of the key moments of the last quarter, which were outstanding from the D's to get over Brisbane on their home ground. Wonderful win. Now what I'm going to do now is go through the whiteboard and give you just a drill that you can do that helps you in relation to getting the defence off the line, change the direction, and trying to own the corridor. So I understand that some clubs are limited to space. You know, they might only be able to train down in the 50-metre arc, or they might only be able to train on the wing. But here's a drill that we used to do a lot, and it helps with basically transition from D50 into forward 50. But it's about quick release, making sure that you have ball transfer and you're shifting the defence. So how it starts is you've got a coach here. Actually, I use the coach as the square, as the X. So you start the ball there, right? And then you've got to play here. So the ball gets kicked, and this player goes back off the mark, and then you've got another outlet here. So this is what the switch of play. So you switch to play. Then you've got to play. You've got two here. So you've got one here, and you've got two on this hat here. So what happens is this player comes up to receive the switch of play. Alright, so once he gets it here, it goes back off the mark, and then this guy just comes down, and it's important. This is an important position because you need to be square of the kicker. Right, so you can't be on passing lanes. You can make a decision if you add in defenders, then this guy wraps and becomes that extra link-up play. But essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to create this player to play on. Then what you've got is you've got a forward coming here. You can create a centre half forward if you want, but then you've also got to have one here that can also go into space on their fat side. So the leading patterns could happen in relation to hit up here, so lower your eyes, and then this guy goes around and then he's hitting the fat side, right? Or you might bypass this guy and then you go for your leading full forward, who then can either give a hand, so you have some runners come past here, and then you've got another fat side kick. So basically what you're trying to do is if the ball entry comes in this side, you're trying to switch to the defence, make sure you have some hard running. So you might even put some, I know there's a lot of circles and crosses here, I apologise for this, but you might put some other players in here to run on a 45. So basically what you're trying to do is switch the play quickly, must play on, this player must play on, so there's no one on the mark, play on. There might be a mark here, get back off the mark, square the kick, or you might play on with this guy coming through here on the 45, and then you set up your forwards accordingly. And it's really important that you still have the fat side option. So you've got to have your forward coming at the ball, you've got to have your centre half forward or a small forward coming to lower your eyes, and then hook around and get on the fat side. So essentially what you're trying to do is trying to switch the play, but this ball movement is really, really a good drill. And obviously I get it if you've got a full ground drill opportunity to do this type of drill, but you're essentially trying to shift the defence and trying to get your numbers to work in numbers, and then back on the 45, like you saw that Harrison Petty kick. He got the ball here and kicked it over the fat side, and Fritz has nearly marked it. So there you go, just a summary of the last quarter for the Ds. What an outstanding win. I know that all the D supporters are happy today with that. Extremely, I am too, as a D supporter, but hopefully that gave you a bit of an insight into how they were able to achieve the 4 points last night.